It's probably not hard to understand that how well a slab stays raised is dependent upon the material used to raise it. The differences between Acme lifting materials and any mudjacking service are extensive. There are no similarities at all. Our polyurethane is specifically formulated for the task at hand. Whether it's lifting, deep injection, or stabilization, our materials have documented performance standards. On the other hand, mudjacking slurries will vary from contractor to contractor. If you call 5 mudjackers, you will likely get 5 different explanations of their mix and why they're better than the next guy. It doesn't matter what they call it, concrete-like, cement-like, clay and sand, or custom mortar mixture. In our experience, it's all basically the same. In this segment, we're going to focus on the 4 material characteristics crucial to a long-lasting repair. These include water resistance, strength, material spread, and weight. This information comes from real-world experience, much of which is backed up by an unbiased third-party document that we'll refer to titled Illinois Tollway Guidelines for Pavement Assets. Since most concrete raising projects involve lifting exterior slabs, water resistance is essential to a lasting repair. We always recommend correcting any grading or gutter issues to provide proper drainage away from your concrete. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, moisture will eventually come in contact with the material used to raise the slabs. This is where mudjacking's biggest failure begins. We regularly inspect sunken concrete that had been previously mudjacked. In every case, we can see the mudjacking materials oozing or eroding out from beneath the concrete. To understand this better, we have collected dozens of mudjacking samples where customers claim they were sold a concrete or mortar-like mixture. We take these samples back to our shop so that we can compare their erosion resistance to our polyurethane. We do this by forming equal-sized cubes of material and allow them to fully harden. We then put these samples into side-by-side liquid housings. Small pieces of concrete are placed on top of the lifting materials to mimic real-world conditions. Then, we flow water across the samples to observe how they stand up against erosion. In every case of our testing, the mudjacking material easily breaks down and washes away. Our polyurethane is unaffected by the tests and proven to be completely water resistant. However, don't just take our word for it. The Illinois Tollway Guidelines for Pavement Assets has a section discussing what they've found to be the most appropriate repair methods. The document clearly states, and I'm paraphrasing here, the usage of cementitious grout or mudjacking material has declined due to its erosion potential. The document goes further to say high-density 2-component water-resistant polyurethane material is the primary slab stabilization material used today. Not only are concrete slabs heavy, the loads they support can be even heavier than the concrete itself. This brings us to our next critical characteristic, compressive strength. We believe lifting materials should be stronger than you would ever need them to be. A sure way to come up with a good compressive strength rating is to refer back to the Illinois Tollway Guidelines. Their guidelines require a polyurethane foam with a compressive strength rating of 47 pounds per square inch. This rating is actually down from a previous document revised in 2016, which called for a 90 psi rating. Keep in mind, These ratings are for highways with 24/7 traffic on them. However, this is where Acme sets the bar for compressive strength. That's right, our lifting materials are specifically engineered to meet a 90 psi compressive strength. When looking into mudjacking, you're going to find it's a lot like the wild, wild west, where pretty much anything goes. You will hear various descriptions of how the material is made, along with wildly different claims of performance. All of this largely due to the lack of standardization or quality control, and of course creative marketing attempting to compete with polyurethane. An extreme example of this is a mudjacker claiming to use a custom mortar mixture with a compressive strength of 2,000 to 2,500 psi. With numbers this far out of range, we decided to investigate by funding a project which enabled us to collect samples of their material. Even after 4 days of cure time, these materials exhibited no strength beyond that of a clay, sand, silt mixture. However, to give this material every chance possible, we took a fully cured sample and just placed it into a small amount of water. Not only did the material fail to resist water, it absorbed the water like a sponge. In less than 30 minutes time, the sample returned to its original state, mud, with no compressive strength at all. You might find it hard to believe, but our 90 psi material is theoretically about 100 times stronger than you would need it to be for any practical application. I won't bore you with all the math, it'll be right here if you're interested, but let's imagine an 8x20 driveway slab. If we were to support this slab with our 90 psi material, meeting the specifications for lifting highways, it could, in theory, support a load of over 2 million pounds. So yes, our polyurethane is clearly many times stronger than it would ever need to be. When you have your concrete raised, it needs to be properly supported. Simply having your concrete lifted by a single heap of material will result in future settlement and possibly cracking. This is why material spread is so important, and once again, another way Acme is so different from any mudjacking service. The easier it is for lifting materials to flow or spread out beneath a slab has a lot to do with how well it will be supported. Mudjacking material comes in the form of a slurry, a very thick material. Imagine a blizzard from Dairy Queen. This thick material does not flow very well, which is why mudjackers have to drill large holes in your concrete. Holes large enough to fit this big injection nozzle down through. The mudjacking material is pumped beneath the slab, which raises the concrete. Unfortunately, its lack of spread results in voids. We refer to this as piering. The concrete is raised, but the lack of support can leave the slab stressed. Over time, moisture can soften the mudjacking material, resulting in the slab dropping again. What's even worse is that the lack of support can actually result in the slab cracking and require replacement at this point. With Acme, our material is highly flowable. Think of something similar to olive oil. This is why we are able to use such small injection holes. Holes just large enough to fit this small injection port down through. Our polyurethane flows easily beneath the concrete, spreading out and expanding in all directions, filling voids while raising the slab. Our polyurethane will clearly do a better job than any mudjacking service, but once again, you don't have to take our word for it. Our claims are backed up by the Illinois Tollway, which says slab stabilization is achieved by injecting a highly flowable material underneath the slab. Polyurethane can flow into fine voids, and expands up to 6 times its liquid volume, forcing its way into any sized void. Weight exacerbates sinking. If your concrete wasn't so heavy, it probably wouldn't have sunk nearly as much, which means if you're repairing settled concrete, adding more weight to an already compromised area is the last thing you want to do. When looking at any mudjacking service, material weight is the elephant sitting in the room, as they say. It's just another problem with mudjacking technology that can never be fixed. Even if mudjacking were strong enough, or water resistant, or spread out well enough, it's still too heavy. Mudjacking materials can weigh between 100 and 150 pounds per cubic foot, which can mean adding literally tons of weight to your existing concrete. Yes, you heard that correctly. Mudjacking can add thousands of pounds to your concrete. This is just another reason why Acme lifting material is far superior, coming in at about 4 pounds per cubic foot. We are not overstressing areas already prone to settlement. These characteristics are like links of a chain. Any lifting material will only be as good as its weakest link. Mudjacking is well known to fail in the presence of moisture and can have nearly zero compressive strength. Even if mudjacking were strong enough or water resistant, it still adds tremendous amounts of weight to areas already having issues with settling. Any mudjacking service will always fail in the weight department. Our material is water resistant, stronger than it needs to be, spreads out very well, and does not add significant weight to the area. Acme is an easy choice every time.